Well, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my mini series within a series. So the big series is about how to pass an advanced bike test, and the mini series is about cornering. And in this video we'll look at steering. So we've already looked at positioning, getting the correct position on approach to corners, through corners and out the other side. We've looked at speed assessment for corners, how to use the limit point and other clues to work out how tight or how open a corner is on approach, so you don't get caught out by a tight corner and you can maintain your flow along a faster section of road. So in this video I'm going to look at, how do we physically get the bike round the corner. It's relatively easy in a car, isn't it, steering? And there are good techniques and bad techniques in the car, and there's good steering and bad steering. There's smooth and there's rough. Turn the steering wheel into it, the car goes in the direction you want it to. On the bike, well, there's some subtleties about steering that you need to be aware of, and some stuff that we're looking for on advanced bike test. So let me go through things in order. The first thing I'm going to look at is body position into corners. Now, to be clear, IAM Road Smart, ROSPA, the police do not want you hanging off the bike. They don't want to see your bum sliding around in the seat, knees going down, body weight shifted right off the bike. Now don't get me wrong, there are advantages to that kind of stuff on track, but we're not on track. So as far as your body position is concerned, for this kind of riding, I want your hips and your backside to stay where they are on the bike. Set them on the seat, you don't need to be sliding your bum around. But there's still some body movement that you can do that will help you to keep the bike as stable as possible. So I want you to remember that, although I've said we're not going to be moving our bum around and sliding around and putting our knee out or anything, those principles of good balance and good weight distribution still count on the road. So we can still, to a smaller degree, get the advantage of a good body position. So any movement in your body position is limited to the upper half of your body. So from your waist, really it's moving your shoulders. And ideally what you need to do on approach to a corner is just move your body weight to the inside. Just lean slightly to the left. For left-handers there, leaning slightly to the left. And then for the right-hander, just lean my position slightly over to the right. So the advantage it gives us is that we don't have to lean the bike as far. If we're moving our body weight rather than the weight of the bike, then the bike is going to remain a little bit more upright, and it is, it's just a couple of degrees or so, but it's enough of an advantage to make a difference and to make it safer through the corners. The more upright the bike is, the more stable it is. So you can move your own body weight a little bit. So for this left-hander coming up, I'll move my body weight to the left very slightly like that, not hanging off the bike. But by doing that, I'm not having to lean the bike as far as I would do if I kept it upright, so in towards the left. And the same for right-handers. And there's another little thing you can sort of do with your body weight if you like, and that's what you do with your feet on the pegs. And we're going to link this with counter steering, so I'm going to talk about counter steering shortly, but this is a little push on the pegs. And it's the outside peg that we're going to be pushing. So for this right-hander coming up, I'll leave it in third gear, I'll move my body weight in towards the inside, and then I'm just going to push down very slightly with my left foot on the left peg. And it sort of locks you in position and very subtly steers the bike through the corner. It works in conjunction with counter steering, like I said, I'll talk about that in a minute. But loading the outside peg really gives you a lot of confidence in corners, and it gives you a more positive steering reaction from the bike. So, outside peg, right peg for left-handers, left peg for right-handers. Now, we do a little bit of what we call positive steering. You'll hear all kinds of stuff about counter steering and all the rest of it. I'll talk about that in a second. But we do some positive steering as well, by which I mean turning the handlebars in the direction you want to go. And that's what we do in these wider, open, more flowing corners. So for this one that's coming up, I can see the limit points moving already. I'm just going to lean the bike in and steer it in the direction I want it to go, and that gives me a nice easy steering reaction. It's not a quick steering reaction though, and anything more than a flowing sweeping bend we're going to need to use counter steering. Now a lot of nonsense spoken about counter steering, and there's a lot of people sort of talk about it like it's some magical new skill that they've learnt. In reality, if you've ever ridden anything with two wheels, a motorbike, a scooter, a pedal bike, a push scooter, anything, then you will be counter steering. My little grandson Lucan, he's 2 years old, he's got a little balance bike, he loves it. Hey Lucan, he's a subscriber. Lucan counter steers into corners. He doesn't know he does, he just does it. And counter steering is the way that we start the bike to steer, and effectively what we do momentarily is we steer the bike in the opposite direction. So I know there's a hairpin coming up down here, and I'm going to start the bike turning into that right hand hairpin by pushing the right hand handlebar away from me, effectively steering left. It sounds ridiculous when you talk about it, but actually we all do it. So down to second gear, start the bike by turning left, and then the bike turns right, and you will see, I'll play it back in slow motion, you'll see I momentarily push that handlebar, the right handlebar, away. Now what happens is, as I turn the steering to the left, of course the weight of the bike then wants to counteract that, equal and opposite reaction, Newton's law, one of Newton's laws, I can't remember which. So as I steer the bike momentarily left, the weight of the bike goes right, and that's where I want the bike. So for this left-hander here, momentarily left, and it tips the bike in. And it is momentary. Here, watch again. I'm going to push the bike, push away, there, and it steers the bike in. So, be in no doubt, counter steering works, we all do it, you will be doing this anyway, it's the only way you can get the bike to steer. The difference is when you start doing it consciously, you start thinking about counter steering. And when you do, if you use it correctly, it gives you a really positive turn, steer into a corner. And if you use it in conjunction with the push on the opposite peg, well, it really gives you a positive steer into a corner, and that's what we're looking for, positive, accurate steering into the corner. The other thing I really want you to remember with steering, and you've heard this before loads of times, you've heard it from me, you've heard it from other motorcycle instructors, look where you want to go. The bike will go where you look. Back when I was in the police, I used to turn up at an accident and there'd be a tree and then a big gap and a field for 100 yards and then another tree. And they'll have hit one of the trees. You think, how on earth have they managed to miss that 100-yard gap and hit one of the trees? And it's because they're staring at it, they're looking at it. And if you look at things, target fixation means that you will steer towards it. Now that's a real disadvantage if it's a big lump of concrete or a big pothole or something like that. But we can use that to our advantage, because if you look where you want to go, that's where the bike will go. So for example, if there is a pothole in the road, look at the tarmac to the side of the pothole, and that's where you'll go. If you stare at the pothole, you'll hit it. So steering the bike through a corner is this combination of subtle body movements, counter steering, little pressure on the outside peg, and above everything else, looking where you want to go. Get your eyes up, keep your eyes up, look through the bend. So don't look immediately in front of the bike here, because that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you get the bike where you want it. Look through the bend and link this corner to the next one. So when we start linking corners, what that means is we're thinking about our position in this corner and the effect it will have on the next corner. So where do we want to be as we come off this right-hander? We want to be going up towards the centre line. I know we're in a 30 limit, but bear with me. As we go around this left-hander, I'll pull it away from the centre line a little bit, and then look where the next corner is going. I'm linking it, and it's going to the right, so I'm positioning near side, nice and early. Keep that near side position on approach, tip the bike in towards position 2. Looking up ahead, and I'm linking the exit from that corner, moving towards the near side, because it's the correct position for the next right-hander. So let's just put that into practice once we leave this 30 limit. So there's the change in speed limit to national speed limit, and of course it's about a mile long straight after that. So join me at the next bend. So, series of bends for the next quarter of a mile. I'm in towards the near side because the first one's round to the right. Position speed, down a couple of gears, counter steering it in with a little push on the outside peg, out towards the centre line for the left-hander. Touch your brakes, down another gear, tipping it in, counter steering, pushing the left bar away. Pressure on the outside peg, keeping it in towards the near side, and then in towards the near side now for this right-hander. So again, leaving it in third gear, counter steering, pushing the right bar away momentarily, foot on the left peg. And we're getting our body weight sorted as well into these corners. The next one is a left-hander. I'm looking through it. Position up to the centre line. Can't see anything coming. Just going to counter steer the bike in, push the peg down on the right, lean into the corner a little bit with my shoulders, and the bike smoothly goes where I want it to. And above everything else, I'm looking where I want to go. So up ahead on the crest of the hill, that's a series of chevron boards. Definitely it's a right-hander. So let's think about steering the bike into that right-hander. Move the body position towards the right when we get there. I'm going to push down with my left foot on the left peg, and I'm going to push that bar away from me momentarily just to get it to turn in. All at the same time keeping it near side and rolling on the gas. So there we go, steering. In the next video I'm going to look at application of gas through the corners and why it's so important. But what are the different organisations looking for from steering? Well, steering faults can be very obvious for an examiner when you're following somebody else. One of the most common faults is what we call 50-pence steering, and that's where somebody turns into a bend and straightens it up and turns in and straightens it up again. It's mostly down to a fault with the use of the accelerator. We'll cover that in the next video, but it's also down to short vision and looking 2 foot short in front rather than getting your head up and looking where you want to go. If your head's up, you're looking where you want to go, the bike will just go there nice and smooth. So we're looking for nice position on approach, IAM ROSPA and IAM Road Smart and ROSPA. If you're looking for a pass at IAM Road Smart, silver or bronze at ROSPA. Well, we want to see that on the whole you're steering the bike accurate. There's a bit of body movement, and not too much 50-pence having a couple of goes through the corner on the bike. If you're looking to get a better pass, a first with an IAM Road Smart or a gold at ROSPA, it's consistency. Again, I say this every time, consistently accurate, consistently smooth, positioning the bike where you want it to be, good principles of counter steering, and nice accurate positioning through and out the corner. If you do that, you're looking at getting a higher score on the civilian organisations. For the police, well, I'll say it again, but remember again, the speeds are higher, so we're going to be using a bit more extreme positioning on the approach to corners, and there's an expectation that your steering is bob on, that the bike flows throughout the ride. Even at those very high speeds, it shouldn't look sudden. We don't want any sudden steering inputs or suddenly chucking the bike in. People talk about chucking or tipping the bike into a corner. We're trying to avoid that. We want to flow. We want the bike to flow down the road like liquid, really. So that's what you're looking to achieve from your steering. Remember those things, a little bit of body position, pressure in the outside peg will help you, and that principle of counter steering the bike into corners where it's appropriate. So I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to go and have a look at the website, ragelocal.com. Lots more information there about advanced and performance driving and riding. And give us a follow on Twitter as well, at ragelocal. But for now, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.